All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the District 57 2020-2021 Budget Town Hall. I'm your District Director, Bette Bullhofer. I'm here with my team tonight. We are very excited to display this budget and go over some of the cool processes that we're putting in place and talk about the reasoning behind that. And after our presentation, we're going to open it up to the floor for Q&A. So please be ready with your questions, but hold your questions until after the presentation, as I do think that a lot of the answers will be revealed. We are recording this, and if you have questions and you're watching the recording, please email us at linda@d57tm.org and awards@d57tm.org. And of course, you can always email me, bette@d57tm.org. All right, so before I introduce our finance manager, Linda, I just want to say that putting this budget together was a team sport. My whole team was very involved in all the aspects of this, and I'm very thankful. And we actually started working on this even as early as April 26th, after we all got elected. I think we had a several-hour session, just the trio, starting to talk about what we want to do for the year. And in this, and Linda's going to go through a lot more of the detail, but we really thought about what worked last year and what worked the year before and what can we do more of and what are the lessons learned. So some of those details are going to be in the report, but I just really want you guys to know that we really were thoughtful and mindful about what has worked. Also, I've been networking with a lot of other district directors at the different trainings that we're going to, and we have a WhatsApp group with all the district directors. So we're all sharing ideas and working on what's the best practices from around the globe. Another thing is the trio and I interviewed a bunch of international director candidates and also drilled them on what's working. So all of that is reflected in this budget, and I'm extremely proud of this budget. I know I'm probably a nerd to get excited about the budget, but now I'd like to introduce Linda Patton, our finance manager for District 57. Linda, can you go ahead and start with your budget report?
I can definitely do that. So to begin with, I want to look at a series of sort of questions and areas. So why do we budget? What are the Toastmasters guidelines? We're going to talk about the Concur process at the end. Hi.
Keep going.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about what revenue do we have coming in? Where does it come from? What expenses have we budgeted? And what's the impact on members, clubs, areas, divisions in the district? This is fun having it come in and out. So first of all, why do we budget? We budget because budget is our way of measuring success. We look at how much money do we have to spend, and then the budget tells us where are we going to put our money? Where will we have the biggest impact? Where will we have the biggest growth, whatever it might be. But we were very diligent about how we put this budget together and what it was going to give us as far as clubs, areas, divisions, and the district itself. If you don't budget, basically you plan to fail. And that was something that none of us wanted to put out to anybody. So it's definitely our success plan as a trio and as a set of district officers. Now, Toastmasters does give us some guidelines, and as I show you the expenses, I'll go through what some of those are. And as I said, we'll talk about the Concur process later. So let's look at revenue. Bet I can't move this. There we go. Thank you. So it looks like you're going to have to advance my slides. Thank you. So first of all, how much money do we have as a district per year? TI gives us an estimation of revenue that we must use. That's the cool thing. It's like spend it or lose it. And right now we get approximately $1.90 per member per month. So they send us a projection over the year. So every month, what are we getting? And it totals out to $56,045 for the year 2021. Next. These are the expenses. And as you'll notice, there are some percentages, policy percentages off to the right. And that's what we need to meet. So in other words, we can't go over the policy percentage. And when you look at minimum expenses, we can't go under the policy. Or we get a nasty note at the bottom of this page that says, you are over budget. Please fix this. So the cool thing is, the only item that we have to break even on is the conference. Their expectation is what you bring in is what you will spend. And as you can see, we do meet that particular policy. We don't do fundraising, and we do not have a district store, so we have no challenges in those two areas. They added this year a new expense category, marketing outside of Toastmasters. So what does that mean? Well, it means advertising. It means Ed's My Why contest. It's the corporate program conference that we're planning on doing this year. That all comes in to marketing outside of Toastmasters. Notice we had to have a minimum of 5%. We have 5.5%. So we met the minimum acceptable criteria for choice. Then we have all the maximum expense types: education and training, club growth, public relations, and so on. So let me show you, in essence, what's included in those budgets and how close we came to the maximum on most of them. So education and training, as you know, is the TLIs. It's the what I call the T cubed, conference calls, webinars, this kind of thing. So it's all about training our members, training our officers, training our area and division directors to be able to do the best job they possibly can for their clubs and their members. And as you can see, we're at 14.6%. Marketing outside of Toastmasters, we just talked about. Club growth, which is Julie's area, has to do with leads. We have incentives for people who bring us leads for new members, starter kits, new clubs, rebuilding clubs, member growth, member retention, and club coaching all goes in this particular category. And again, we're at 14.8 out of 15%. Public relations is Ed's area. Newsletter, website, incentives, conference calls, and webinars all go in that. And again, it's a way for us to get our message out to our members and to the public as well. We're a little bit low here. We're at 8.5, but still it's very close and it makes sense. Recognition. Notice that this is the largest dollar amount that we have, and it's at 18.9% out of 20. And this is all the incentives. It's individual, it's club incentives, it's area director incentives, it's division director, and it's all the excellence awards. We really want to recognize our members. We want to recognize you as the leaders of this district in all the things that you do to make sure that we know, we let everybody else know who you are, what you're doing, and how we're doing. I'm going to skip, oh, and that also includes awards like OATM and Triple Crown, DTM. Those also come out of the recognition area. I'm going to skip the next three. Speech contest at the moment has nothing in it. Generally, there's food in here, food and meals for the contest. And unfortunately, that all has to go in food and meals. So there's nothing there at the moment. Administrative is all of those things that you would expect: supplies, stamps, storage, copying, and those areas. It's only $5,400, but that's 9.8% of the budget. So we're definitely within the guidelines. Oh, and the reason that there's no travel, lodging, or very little travel lodging, is because Toastmasters has said we are a virtual organization for 2020, 2021, and we have said that about the district. It's all digital. The only thing that's in here currently is travel for the trio to go to mid-year training, if indeed we don't do that virtually. So that's why the money is so low. We tried to sneak in the 2021 conference, and we're told that that was in August of 2021, and so we've taken that out. So these are the expenses that we're planning, and that will get us to where we need to be as far as spending the income that we have coming in from Toastmasters. Next slide. So the formula that we used was, we have money. We want to do incentives. When we do incentives, we have healthy clubs. When we have healthy clubs, we have a healthy district. So we really want to incentivize our clubs and our members to do the best that they can. We want to make clubs excellent. We want to make them excited and making plans and achieving them, because that's how we grow new clubs and we do other things that we really want to do. Next. So what has worked? Ooh, do we have this flowing in? Thank you, Bet. We have things like the open house experience. The mini success plan, we had 68 clubs who completed the mini success plan. They're telling us how many open houses they want to have. New member drives, thought of the day, rewards for new club leads, new club starter kits, club coach rewards, newsletter contests, my why contests, clean up your meetup, and of course all the excellence awards, Excellence 7 and other excellence awards that we have. We're trying new things too. More video conferences, website and branding contests and incentives. First 20 clubs to renew, a minimum of 8 members got $25, but it was so successful, we had 28 clubs before the deadline. So we've moved the deadline to October, is that right, Bet? Nod your head, yes.
Actually, it's not really a deadline. It's just whatever the first 40
When we get the first 40.
Yep. So as soon as
renewed.
possible. As soon as possible.
Yeah, it is so very, very possible. We had 28 by the first deadline. So we've opened it up to 40 and we'll let it run until then. We have now a corporate program conference that we're planning to give them a chance to get together and to see what can they do as a corporate program to really, again, be exciting and really bring success to their corporation as far as speakers and trainers and that kind of thing. And there's so much more that we are planning right now. The other new programs and processes, and you may have seen Bet's video on District Bucks Savings Account. What is this? What we have done is taken the incentives and we're putting them into a savings account for the clubs. So we have an Excel spreadsheet that has the clubs down the left-hand side. We have all the incentives across the top. And as they win an incentive, the money drops into their account. And it's really designed to help a club with large purchases. If we're going to go hybrid in July of 2021, clubs are going to need things like cameras. They're going to need microphones. They're going to need computers. They're going to need projectors. And it's projected to cost around $1,500 to have a club fully hybrid. And so this is a better way of them getting the money, hanging on to it so that they don't spend it all. And as they get expenses, then they can draw down their savings account. And yes, we will let them know when they're running out of money. The only deadline on this is that money must be spent by June 30th, 2020. That's when we close the books on this year, and we really want it to be sooner. We are moving away from the bank checking expense, and we're moving to Concur, which is what I taught in the Train the Trainer session. Reason, we legally cannot write checks for incentives. And we got our hand slapped for doing that. So this is why we've set up the district bucks, and Concur is the way that they will be able to get their money quickly. Okay.
Linda, can I just add one point of order? You had mentioned that the due date was June 2020, it's really June 30th, 2021.
21.
Yep.
Sorry. Yes, 2021.
Just a typo in your reports.
Okay. Is it in my report? No. Okay.
No, you just said it.
I just said it. Okay. So how do you get a Concur account? And why do we want Concur? Here we go. Because of our nonprofit status, we can't write checks for incentives, only to reimburse expenses. To comply, we need to stop writing checks. Also, I ran down to 92 and 880 to have George sign my last check, I hope. Concur is a digital expense reimbursement process. It saves time. It guards from loss and theft. It reduces travel time to get checks signed. It also reduces the time it takes to get you the money, and then you don't have to go to the bank and cash the check or deposit the check. It goes right into your account. So there's all sorts of time-saving reasons to move to Concur. It's easy, it's effortless, and I can do it anywhere as they can, anywhere, anytime, and it's marvelous. In fact, I have one today that I approved today, and it come into my email. I looked at it, I approved it, and the money went off to the club. All right, credentials. How do you get your credentials? This is what I taught the officers in the clubs. Go to District Tools. Ed has done a beautiful job of setting up for me get reimbursement. So you go to the D57 website, go to District Tools, click on Get Reimbursement. There's a form there. It's so simple. First name, middle name, last name, Toastmasters ID, and your preferred email address. Click Submit. Comes to me. I send it off to TI. Now I have to say right now, they're running a little bit slow, but this is budget season. So I'm being very, how do I want to say, kind and patient with when they send me back the credentials. When I get the okay from them that you're all set up, I send you instructions for how to set yourself up and get your credentials working and how to submit that first expense report. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. How'd I do?
That was great. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. And let's see. That was really it. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Linda. That was just breathtaking. So let's go ahead and stop sharing and let's talk. So who's got questions? I know we went over a lot of information. Does anyone have any questions? Let's open it up.
Miss Kate.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So I wondered, you had mentioned in the club growth that the club coaches expenses wouldn't, I think it's just club mentors, right? I'm just trying to figure it out.
The category, as I remember, is actually club coach.
Okay, for under club growth, all right. Now, if a club, $1,500, even if they were doing their excellence awards, doing all the things they could they probably aren't going to make the $1,500. So let's just say they wanted to purchase a camera, a projector that's going to be a big ticket item. They could go ahead and purchase it, and then they would get reimbursed. So they could use some of their club funds from their bank account plus district funds, submit the receipt for the percentage they want the district to pay.
Right.
Is that how that works?
I need an actual receipt to show what they spent. So if they're asking for less than the receipts, I'm not sure. Let me check on that. I'm not sure how that would work. I think we can do that.
Yeah. So if
I'm just concerned about audit purposes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so let's say the scenario is they've earned 100 district bucks and the camera they're buying is $200.
Right.
We would just reimburse $100 of it. and then the rest of the money they would have to bring from their own treasury, their own
Well,
bank account.
Yeah, and the thing is that they're going to have to buy it with their treasury funds to begin with, and we're reimbursing them for the expense.
Right.
So
So
they
if they
can
didn't
tell
have
us,
the money to begin with, they won't be buying it in the first place. So
no,
all this money at the end of the year, if they don't make the $1,500, whatever they need, if they don't make that much money in the incentives bucks account or whatever it's called, then essentially it goes away after, instead of just, can you do like a Best Buy gift card or anything would be better than
So,
having the money go away after they earned it.
so gift cards are also sort of
Not
frowned
allowed.
on unless they're a gift. So if you have a speaker at your TLI, you know, a
Um,
trainer, and you want to give them a thank you gift, I think we can give them thank you gifts as a gift card.
yes,
But just to give an incentive, the problem we get in legal trouble if we're paying people by giving them money, by giving them cash, right? Because then we become like a business that we're paying employees. So that's the issue. We can't be issuing cash or gift cards unless it's like a gift, a real gift. But if it's an incentive, then we need to reimburse. So let me just give some history. In the old days, when people ran an open house, they would buy food. Like I ran an open house for my club, and it was
Right.
$80 worth of pizza that we bought,
mhm,
but the district only reimbursed up to $50. So
Right.
I had to take the difference from our club treasury, and I would get the $50. So now in this virtual world, we just don't have those kind of expenses. So we're trying to figure out how can we still use the district money that it's really the club's money, right? How can we
Right.
get this money back? But we have to expense it. We can't just send checks because that again
Right.
gets us a legal issue.
But again, at the end of the year, if the club between their bank account and what they have in their D57 account, if it doesn't add up to what they need to buy, it doesn't matter. Their incentive money goes away because the fiscal year changes.
well, the
No
thing
way
is,
to roll
hey,
it forward.
I would recommend that they buy ribbons and a new banner or new podium, right? There's plenty of things they can buy. They can buy notebooks to give out or guest packs, right? There's always tons of things.
No, and that's how the gift certificates to the TI store always work, right? You
Yep.
get those gift
Yeah.
certificates for that kind of thing. And then if you didn't use them, they went away. And I get that, and this expands their ability to buy elsewhere if they really need equipment that TI doesn't sell.
And they can definitely go to TI, buy things, submit the receipt, and we would just reimburse it. We're just saying this is another option. You could put some money towards a camera or a microphone or a projector. There's just some options.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
necessarily say,
Yes,
well,
Okay.
you know, if
Okay,
the,
yeah, I
if the,
just wanted to be very clear
yeah,
that it's a use or lose scenario. So at the end of the year, if they haven't earned enough incentives and they don't have enough in their bank account, then it's, oh, well. You just wait till next year
well,
and
Kate,
try
though, I would
again.
hope that the clubs are budgeting and
Yeah,
that they're looking at the incentives and saying, what can we go for? And how much is that going to bring into our club treasury?
yeah,
And
no,
from
no,
there,
they're
you can
doing that.
plan
They're
your
doing that.
expenses.
They're
You can
doing
plan
that.
your
They
purchases.
collect dues if they need them and so
Yeah.
on.
And the thing is that they can easily, they don't have to do the lump sum. You know, we're saying it's $1,500, but they could easily say, okay, priority, which ones do we need first?
Yeah,
And
I get
purchase those.
that.
And so they just have to be
They
fiscally
just have to be
responsible.
budgeting for it and know what equipment they need or want to lease or whatever. The thing is I just want to make sure that we convey to them that, go ahead and spend that money before the end of the fiscal year.
Oh, God, yes.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
so-
go away.
let me talk about why they have to spend it before the end of the year. Because unless someone submits a receipt, that money is not actually in a district account. It's really in TI's account,
Right,
the district
right.
reserve.
It's just allocated to us.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, they're actually going to take the money back. So it's not like I'm saying, well, you guys can't have it next year if you don't use it. Actually, TI is going to take it away from us as the district, so we won't have access to it. So this is not really like a rule that we're coming up with just to be mean. We literally will not have access to that
No, I
money.
just want to make sure, because we had conveyed to them if they did their mini success plan or success mini plan, that they would get $20, okay? So in their mind, it was like last year, oh, we're gonna get a check for $20,
Right.
And so it's not that way. So I just want to do some mop up in our division. It's okay. I
And
just wanna,
I
One,
think I was really
one-
clear too in the TLI that they weren't getting checks,
Yeah.
that everything had to be done
Okay.
through Concur,
Yeah.
thus it had to be a reimbursement.
one question, and there's a subtle point on the gift cards I want to clear up maybe for everyone. So the district can no longer send out gift cards or checks. We get that. Could the club buy a gift card and expense it?
So let me just clarify, if it's a gift, because actually the person who's submitting the receipt has to put what it was for. So if it's a real gift, then it's fine, but it has to be justified, right? It can't be a $500 bottle of wine, right? Or a gift
And then
card for $500.
You can't do alcohol at all, remember?
Yeah, you can't do alcohol at all. Thank you very much. So if it's like a $15 Starbucks gift card, that's within reasonable, because actually after I and Linda or George approve it, then it goes to TI who will then approve it. And if they're like, this is not an expense that we agree with, then it will be sent back. So we really do need it to be like something that's justifiable as like, no one, I don't think a $50 gift card would be justifiable. Maybe a $20 one, but that's like a gift is not something that's very extravagant. Otherwise it's a payment.
right.
Well,
So if
that's
we
a fuzzy number though. I mean, you just made up a fuzzy number there, Bet. I mean, is that because you think the headquarters won't approve it or
Yeah.
because that's your number or where do you think that's coming from?
I've heard that $25 is like the max for gifts. So if the card is for a special speaker who came in and you want to give them a gift, over 25, I think, is then considered payment. So
Yeah.
I've heard that number before. I don't have the protocol in front of me, and I can, of course, do a follow-up. And
yeah.
we're
Well,
continuing.
it's important point because the club should be following the budgeting and financial practices as per the bylaws for their own bank account, right?
Exactly.
Subject to audit by the members and so on,
Yeah.
and TI. So if there is a protocol of $25 would be the max, yet you give, say, a target speaker for a contest or something, then it, they should be aware of that. But I don't know how much training. We asked them, the treasurers, of course, to go to the bylaws and study up with their counterparts at TI, but
So
This is Dawn.
okay, just one moment. What we'll do is Linda, Abe, and I will find the exact protocol and put it into the question and answer section on the incentives page and getting reimbursed. So just that way you guys have that information, okay? Does that sound good?
yeah. So when they brought in new members in August, $10 a new member, then that goes into this Bucks account.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Thanks, Kate. All right, Dawn.
Yes, I just wanted to share a little tidbit about what I have to do. And we have a recognition program at work. And the way that our lawyers put it all together, there's no gift cards at all. It is, and we're super conservative, but we have done everything which way to try to figure out around it. Movie tickets are fine. A tangible thing. So for example, you guys gave me enough credit and I got something for coaching. Give folks, you can spend $25 on the TI website, or you can go to Amazon and tell me what you want to order from $10 to $15 or $20. And so then and if you do Prime, somebody can order it, it's free shipping. So those are ways around it if folks are, I think that's the message, because we give $5 or $10 for gift cards for folks to come and visit, but I'm always a little hesitant about that because I deal with it at a different level, because I can't give, I get $3,000 a year for our teams, and we, give, now with COVID, it's like, how do you do it? But we've been giving them gift prize. We do raffles for games and things like that, and then they pick it and off they go. But that would be some strategy, or to even get some equipment like you guys said. So
Yeah.
Check and see with
the real
corporate.
goal is for clubs to use this money to meet the club mission, which if we go into a hybrid world where half the members are in another country or in another state because they just love your club so much, it's not going to be every club that's going to need this either. But this is just a program. You can either just buy ribbons like you used to, or you can save it up and buy something a little bit bigger. So really the club can just do whatever they want with the money as
Yeah.
long as it's not alcohol and not violating any of the terms of service. But that's the goal, is just to let people buy something a little bit bigger.
Right, and from my perspective, I want them to have done a plan, that they have a budget, they know what they want to spend their money on, and that they know how they're going to do that. That to me will set them up to be very successful and to literally buy the things that they need rather than doing something frivolous. Or, you know, the worst case is I get $25 and I spend it. You know, it's like how my kids used to spend their money. As soon as the money, you know, it burns a hole in my pocket, as opposed to recognizing that they've got this now in a savings account. I think this is a sort of another reason not to necessarily put it in their treasury, because it gets lost in there. And it's real easy to spend it on things that maybe if you'd collected it or saved it, you could get something bigger and something that will impact the entire club. So just my thought.
Another point before we go to another question is that I think the club needs to be strategic. Just like we put together this budget with strategy around where we are and where we need to be, I think a club needs to be strategic. Because one thing, if a club has 8 members and they want to run 4 open houses, I think they need to use that money to promote their open houses and use Facebook and LinkedIn and other things that, you know, Ed's going to hopefully be giving us more details about how do you do digital marketing in this world. Because if you run a really great open house, you could build your membership 6, 10 more people. And that's a good use of that $50 for open house. Whereas if you have great membership and you're getting all these members from around the world and you want to keep that going, you may want to invest the money in a camera, right? So I think the club just needs to be strategic about where they're going and where they are right now.
And I can tell you that, you know, having just done a Speechcraft, that advertising on Facebook and Meetup and all of that brought us up to 99 people a week registering, and between 50 and 70 people on camera every week. And we've got all of our freshies for the new club, plus a whole bunch of transfers and dual members. So it works. It really works.
So if your main goal right now is to build membership, use the money right now to do Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Then once you have that membership, you can start saving it for cameras and other equipment. All right, let's go to another question. I love this so far. Caroline, you have some interesting expressions you've made so far. Do you want to ask any questions? That's a no?
You're muted, my dear.
I'm thinking of a simple one that won't be a 20-minute discussion. I noticed on our registration, when we're registering for meetings and so forth, you're now asking for our TI ID.
Yeah.
What happened? How did that come about?
So the reason why is because our credentials chair it makes it easier to run reports, so we can see if a person has membership of 3 clubs and they're president of 2 and vice president of another one, and of education and area director, we have to give each of those persons a vote. So it just makes it easier to run the reports, to pull the information and make sure they can vote properly. That's the reason why.
And you make it such that the person can't register without giving the ID number. Is that legal?
The ID number is not, I don't think it's a confidential piece of information as far as I know.
Well, I have not registered maybe 2 or 3 times because I don't carry my ID number in my head.
Caroline, I'm sorry to interject, but if you go to Toastmasters.org and log in as yourself and click on your name, it gives you all that detail, and you just cut and paste. So
I don't want to do that every time. I hear you. I hear you.
It's a couple of clicks.
All right, let's just try to keep the questions to the budget, but I really appreciate it, Caroline. Thank you. All right, how about Robin? You haven't asked anything yet. No? Donica, any questions? I see a hand, Donica.
I was wondering if we had a Concur account set up from before, if it carries over, or
Yes,
if we need
it
to
does.
reactivate it.
Yes, no, you're good. You're golden.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the Concur account is based on your member ID. So even if you move clubs or districts, your Concur account will still be there. All right. Is there anyone new who has a question? Because we did spend about 20 minutes on Kate's first question. I just want to make sure we're fair to let everyone go.
You have Randy and Ben Cat.
Do you see them raising a hand?
No, but they're
Okay.
the only two who haven't asked a question yet.
All right, well, don't be shy, guys.
They may not even be there.
I'm here, but I don't have a question.
Okay.
All right.
I'm here too. But
Better now than at the business meeting,
Oh, yes, please.
or that'll go on all night.
All right, let's go to Kate.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that in the budget there, because you've been talking about club bucks accounts, is there also still the budget for the areas and divisions? So
Yes.
say we wanted to do something for a contest, we would be able to, okay. Thank you.
Yes. So we decided, based on being in Northern California, and we decided this a few months ago, that we're going to be all virtual all year because Newsom could change the rules at any moment and then we lose deposits. And so we already made that decision, and then TI actually officially made it for us that all contests have to be virtual. So the budget that we do have for you would be used for gifts and for all your volunteers, because it is really hard to run these events and we really appreciate our volunteers. So we do have thank you gifts. And then we have medals that we'll be ordering and sending those out.
Okay, fabulous.
Okay,
Fabulous.
great.
Thank you.
Oh, anyone else have any questions? Abe, I've heard that you're not allowed to use a virtual background anymore.
oh, really?
You're disappearing to it.
You're disappearing into your background and no. Yeah,
Okay.
so if you could either get a green screen or don't use it, please.
All right, we have some folks joining. Who else has a question? Otherwise, we will just wrap up and have social.
I can ask a question.
Venkat.
Just wanted to confirm based on whatever I'm hearing. At the club level, if we have some event where a guest speaker comes and speaks, we can think of giving them a appreciation gift card. Is that what I heard or not?
You can do it, but I think it's important to think about, is that the best use of your money?
No, I know. With all that taken into account, it's actually.
I think it's important to be strategic with your money and just decide, because a lot of people want to speak at events, right? And if they think they have to get a $10 Starbucks gift card to speak, it could start maybe leading to some bad habits, perhaps.
But we're losing your vocals.
Okay, great.
I think that question was more for non-Toastmasters, in case somebody comes and speaks, is willing to do it, and we feel that it's a good speaking opportunity, not speaking opportunity for somebody else, but a listening opportunity for the Toastmasters, just to be able to listen to somebody speaking.
Yeah, just remember that we're going to look up the exact details, but it can't be more than like $20.
I know.
So
I heard that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Venkat. All right. I'm going to do one last call, and then we're going to end the recording just so people aren't waiting for us to just party after this event is over. Is there anyone else who wants to ask a budget-related question? And please ask tonight, because during the actual business meeting, we're going to try to get it done in 1 hour. So please take the time right now to ask the budget-related questions.
Let's say the link that came out, the budget information that came on your link for getting ready for the business meeting.
Yes.
That, I think, is that complete? Because
Yeah.
there were some pages that had some empty spots in it and I just wasn't sure. Okay.
Great
Right.
question.
Thank
Linda,
you.
when you talk about why isn't every page of the budget having data in it?
Because we don't do fundraising and we don't have a district store.
Right.
Those are the two. And you and I need to talk about speech contests though.
Okay. Excellent.
Because
Yeah.
there's zero budget for speech contests.
Yeah.
'Cause there's no
We,
food.
what we had in there was food. And after I took it out and it went to zero, I went, we forgot about trophies and ribbons and that kind of thing, which people are going to be.
Medals, yeah.
And
So-
participant gifts as well.
I'm sorry?
And participant gifts.
Participant, yeah.
Target speaker gifts, yeah. Wow.
All right, great. Any other questions?
I would like to know if it's possible to maybe let, when we indoctrinate new division and area directors, that we let them know what their budget is at the start of the fiscal year. I know you guys have some kind of workaround for authority to spend before this budget meeting, a budget is approved at the first business meeting. But I wondered if there was a way to do that so that they understand that if they have had their open house or they were doing something in advance of budget approval, that it's okay to do.
So I think that this is a great question for maybe our possible next district director, perhaps maybe George Marshall if he's lucky. Because the thing is,
Congratulations, George.
possibly, if he decides to run, if you guys are all very good to him, he may decide to run. But the thing is that we get elected on April, last year, April 25th. And then we immediately start planning, and we literally planned until maybe 2 weeks ago when we finished the first version and got it ready to give and share. So it's not like we just had it all in our minds and just didn't share it with everyone, right? So we just didn't know yet what it was because we actually got revenue targets, I don't even, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, normally, I don't know, I'm not a certified, public accountant, but I would say that everywhere I've ever worked, you approve the budget before the fiscal year started so that it would be, there's authorization to spend the money and there's knowledge of what money you have and haven't and what the rules are in place. So
Okay.
last year you approved it. So that's all I'm saying is if you could enlighten them, it would be helpful.
Kate, that would be for somebody like you to go to TI and say, we need to do the budget sooner because they are the ones who dictate when the budgets have to be approved. And that's not till September 30, actually not until September 30th.
Okay, so in your understanding is though, everything rolls out and there isn't a restriction for spending just because there's not an approved budget.
That's correct.
Because this TI has got a budget and they roll, so by extension, because they're actually minding the store with they've allocated so much for each district, right? So because they've done that, then that gives us the authority to roll out. Okay.
Yeah, just to give you guys some ideas, June 30th is the end of the fiscal year for Toastmasters. And then we have closing the books, which Goggenbeer worked very hard on, and that took another month. And then there's the audit committee that has all their paperwork. So all of these processes happen as soon as the end of the year happens. And until all this happen, we don't actually know how much money we even have left in the district reserve. And then they give us our revenue target after that. So there's a lot of processes. In fact, I believe our district is maybe one of the first in the whole world that submitted our budget.
Yes. When I did, when we did district treasurer training, no one had gotten as far as we are. We had already sent our budget in one time to get it looked at. And they were going, but we're not even done yet. What do you mean you already sent it in? So I have to say that Bet and George and Julie and Ed were Johnny on the spot with, what are your plans? What are the things you want to do? How much money do you think you need to spend? And Bet and I, put it all together in a month's time. And then we've been tweaking it since.
2 months time. Yeah,
Right.
Linda and I worked every week for an hour or more, just like not in person, but on Zoom, working through the details. So we are definitely as far
Yeah,
ahead
I
as-
don't question that. I'm just wondering if, you know, why it seems such a strange practice to me because, you know, when we went into the training thing, I was automatically thinking of thank you gifts and stuff, but I wasn't really understanding how that all worked. But I'm glad to hear this explanation.
Yeah, well, I'm very lucky that I'm probably a trio member that's been on the trio consistently the whole time, which a lot of districts around the world don't have that. And we actually had some problems before too. So I've had the experience of we need gifts. And so George and I put that into the budget because we knew that we needed gifts. So we knew about that and we planned it. And in fact, on July 1st, we should start promoting the incentives and getting the incentives out. And we did talk about things we were planning at area.
PLI and all that. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right. Very good.
We want you guys to start spending the money immediately. Otherwise, we lose 3 months of spending. And we're, as a non-for-profit, we have to spend the money. I want to make 1 or 2 more points before we close. And that is that when Diane was district director and Kevin and I were all brand new, and we actually did not spend anywhere near enough money because we did not even figure out we were supposed to spend the money until September. When we went to our first training, which is at the end of August, we were told like, oh yeah, you guys should be spending money. And we thought we had to wait till the budget was approved. And so we lost those 3 months. And so there was a $60,000 extra surplus when Kevin came into office. And so that whole last year, we were desperately just trying to spend down that reserve. And when this trio came into office, Linda, what is our current reserve at? Was it
Our reserve's about $16,000
So
as
we
of the end of July.
down pretty significantly, but we still had some money. And there's another little small tangle, which is there's a new policy that TI put in that we can only spend in the budget. We can only budget for how much money we're going to earn revenue. So if we spend over that because we know that we have extra in the reserve, we can do that. But then next year we will not have any reserve because they're going to take back anything we
Take
don't
it back.
have.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then it will be always based on the revenue.
Okay.
I don't know if I lost everyone or if people are still falling
No, I
asleep.
got that. I got that.
Yeah. So they're going to claw back
Yeah.
whatever money we have left over at the end of the year. So
Because
we
we're a
want to spend it.
nonprofit. We're a nonprofit, and we just have
Are.
to spend the money on the people that paid into it.
Exactly.
Yes, and I want to point out one other quick thing, and Ed and I have been talking about this, and we need to get so much stuff out to people. But things you cannot spend your dues on, your club internal treasury on, you cannot pay for your members' dues. I just
Right.
want to make sure everyone knows that, and Ed and I are going to send out a reminder of that at some point, Ed. Yeah, so there are things you cannot spend the money on, and in fact, Abe, we need to update you cannot spend your money on alcohol, and also we should say you cannot spend, you cannot have a scholarship fund for a member who's run into trouble. If some other member wants to do that as a gift, it gets into really fuzzy area, which I strongly recommend
No,
you
we always frown against it. I tell the area directors and club people no.
never pay for it with club dues, never pay with district money, and no officer should be ever paying, and definitely no area director or division director or any of the trio should ever pay for any member's dues. I think that should just be really, really, really clear, because then we start violating integrity rules, okay? Because then just the richest person can have the best DCP points, right? And that's not what this is about. It's about working hard and doing it from the merit, not because you just happen to be very wealthy. So I just want to remind everyone that, and Ed and I are planning to have a message just reminding people around what we need to do around dues and what do's and don'ts. And it's not a bank account that you should be saving for a rainy day. Although in this case, if you make a budget to buy a projector and a microphone and a camera, that I think is a good, valid reason to save the money.
And also for the Facebook ads, I have no idea what a Facebook ad costs, but let's just say it's the $50 that you could get. So they can go ahead and spend for things like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as it's in their account, either at their club or at the district bucks account.
So for instance, let's say someone's planning to do a big open house. They got a great speaker. They have a really good agenda that's got lots of time at the end to ask for people to join. And now they want to promote it. Well, they don't have money in the bank account yet. So let's say they didn't win any of their incentives. They can actually preemptively spend the money. And for instance, I promoted TLI. It was $30 for 30 days. So if you promote it, that's not $50 yet. So you get 20 extra dollars that you can save towards your camera. Okay. So it's totally fine that you know you're going to make that money, because when you buy pizza, right, for an old open house, you knew that you were going to get reimbursed. So it's the same idea.
Right, right. And when we placed ads in the local newspaper, that kind of thing, yeah.
Right. Or you put ads on bus stop benches.
Yes, those are all old-fashioned ways of doing things, but
Yes.
I would say LinkedIn ads and
Quick
Facebook
question.
ads are really good. Yes, Venkat.
Yeah, you just mentioned some numbers here. Let's say I have an open house in this month, and we can get up to $50. That's what the policy is. Now if the advertisement costs are $30, we can only get $30. Is that right?
And then,
It's not true that you can get 50 and use the 20 for the next open house.
Yes,
So
you
what
can.
Oh, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
It's a
What
savings
happens-
account. So we just reduce your savings account by what you spent. So you still have the $20 that you can spend later.
Okay, so the incentive means that it's not really reimbursement when it goes into the savings account.
Correct.
So the moment we have an open house, we get $50 in the savings account.
No.
Yes,
You
in
have-
the savings account.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
You have to submit the proper documentation, though, to get the $50 into your savings account.
Sure, that's just proof of having the open house,
Right.
not proof of having spent $50.
That's
That's
right.
correct.
Three guests, at least 3 guests, and or one new
Some
member.
member.
Just
Sure.
play by the rules, and it all falls into place.
Sure.
And
I
Abe puts it
I
in your little
understand.
account and it totals up on the left-hand side. And, as you can always call, Abe, are you putting that up someplace or do they have to call you to find out what their money is?
Our plan is to put it up for people
Okay.
to be able to see it.
So you'll be able to see what you have in your account and you'll know what you can spend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my question got answered. Thank you.
Mhm.
Great. These are the questions I want to hear. Are there any final questions? And then I'll just do a wrap up if there are no final questions.
This is Dawn. I have one quick question.
Sure.
I have clubs that have money in the bucket. And so because we have pretty much like $500 or $600, should we be, I mean, some of that is the money that we've, collected with our dues, our sub dues, our over and above dues. So is that supposed to go into Concur as well? Or is that still remaining in our own funds?
No, that
And-
remains in your own funds.
Okay. So
Their
we're
money.
just,
So
It's our
Concur
money,
is
okay.
only for the district money, not for the clubs.
Yes.
so with that money, we can pay whatever, we can purchase whatever we want, in
You got it.
essence.
Well, except alcohol, you can't do that.
And also not paying for members' dues.
Right, yeah.
And not gift cards. Or thank you gifts only.
You can do up to a certain amount with.
And I'll
Okay,
check
so-
on that and I have it
So
before.
I'm in a club. We got, maybe we earn $10 here, $20. Let's say we have $30 now. Plus we're doing an open house. So you're going to put $50 in. We spent
Right.
$30, but the other 20, like Venkat was saying, stays there. Just by
Yes.
virtue of having an open house, you guys are going to push $50 to our bucket.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and another quick note, if you make a MyY video or you have a club, newsletter contest, anything your club wins, even if it's a MyY, the person who's submitting that they did the MyY, which is a video about why you love Toastmasters, that money goes to the club's account. So if you have 5 of your members do these things and they win, now that money goes to your account. Okay. If you do a newsletter contest and you win, that goes into the club's account. So we don't have an idea of a one person having their own account. It's only at the club level.
Level.
I just want to also
Yeah, I
clarify
don't
that.
think it's my wife thing. Okay.
Yeah,
I
Ed,
think it's important.
Ed and I
Go ahead.
have been so busy with business meeting and all these things that we're just trying to get out. We're planning to do a lot more information around these other contests. Thank you. Hey,
Yeah, I think it's
Yay.
important
Thank
that
you.
we distinguish clearly this district account or district bucks versus a club's own budget
yeah,
of the money they're getting as part of the dues of their club. So we don't want a confusion there. And we'll try to figure out a way to make sure that that doesn't get confused.
yeah. If everyone has questions or examples of how to make this more clear, Abe and Ed and I and Linda are just trying to convey this new thing we rolled out, basically because we had to, because of legal reasons. So we're just trying to work within the constraints and make sure all clubs can flourish and do wonderful. So please give us help. You know, if you see something wrong on the website, let Ed know, because he's in there trying to scrub it and make sure everything's correct. So we really appreciate it. It really is a collaborative effort.
One last question, if I can.
Yes, Venkat.
Yeah, last year the newsletter contest, for example, awarded something for the editor. So it's not for the club, it's for the individual.
Mhm.
So are we going away from that idea completely?
We have to legally.
So there will be, in the new newsletter contest, there will be no incentive for the editor per se. Is that correct?
The club,
No, the club will win, of course, but the editor will not win anything in addition.
He might get a certificate.
Okay.
maybe Venkat, when you put the more details around it, you'll maybe have a certificate or a plaque or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
for the
trying to understand. When I propose the newsletter contest, for example, I
Yeah.
cannot propose a monetary thing for individuals.
No.
Well, you can give the club a monetary incentive for having won, but not an individual.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I'm gonna. Does anyone, Dawn? Do you have a final question? Give your hand up. No.
Oh, sorry, no, I had my hand up earlier. I'll take it
Great.
down.
Well,
Thanks.
thank you, everyone. That brings us to the end of the hour. I'm really excited, and I hope everyone votes yes on the budget at the fall business meeting. Thank you all. And
Be
talk-
kind.